Throughout the history of mankind, fighting has always been a way for people to show their dominance over others. In ancient times, Romans held gladiator battles for entertainment, and in modern times, we have armored MMA, so nothing much has really changed. However, the amount of different fighting styles around the world has increased massively, and today, I'm going to be bringing down the best martial arts for fighting, starting with... Now, as someone who's personally a wrestler, wrestling is one of the best fighting styles in the world. And the thing is, wrestling is so widespread that there's almost a wrestling team in any place in the world. Did you know that Monaco, the second smallest country in the world, has a wrestling team? I mean, wrestling has been around for so long that it's become a staple of modern culture. But the thing is, I hold a slight grudge against wrestling. And it's that everyone is too fucking good. I swear, every time I walk on the mat, it's either I pin the kid in a minute, or I end up going against fucking Alexander Karen. And for those of you who are uneducated, this is the greatest wrestler of all time. It's actually Chael Sanderson. Yo, shut your bitch ass up. Bro, if you could take a second and look at the legacy and records of each of these fighters, you would understand how good this guy was. Chael Sanderson, 159-0 record. Alexander Karen, 897 wins and only 2 losses. This guy was so dominant that the only losses in his career were at the beginning and end. But I'm going off on a tangent. Let's talk about wrestling as a sport. Well, in my opinion, I believe that wrestling is one of the best base martial arts for anyone who wants to get into fighting. The training that is required to become a wrestler is extremely good for your health, and you will most likely end up looking like a Greek demigod. Overall, wrestling is a great sport for people to get into and will severely improve people's lives. So I rate it. Oh yeah, in this video, I'm going to be rating each one of these. I mean, I've done this in every single one of my videos. Just watch them. They get 3 views. But anyways, I would give this a solid 9 out of 10. Now, compared to wrestling, boxing hasn't been around for as long as many people think. But even though boxing is practically like the polar opposite of wrestling, they do have similar benefits. However, there is one thing that boxing is absolutely superior and that wrestling will never be good at. And it is the money! Yeah, bro, while we have wrestlers out there who are working their ass off and barely able to pay rent, support a family, and live a long, nice, peaceful life without any problems, we have boxers out there who fight on undercards, making millions of dollars. Now, am I saying that boxers don't work as hard as wrestlers? No, I'm just saying that they get paid a fuck ton of money. And low-key, I'm not hating. If I have to go through a practice every single day where I could possibly end up with a brain tumor for the rest of my life, shit, I better be getting paid. Boxing is one of the only sports out there where almost 40% of the professional boxers end up with CTE. And I know what I'm about to say is probably been spit on whatever performative podcast you guys watch, but the boxing rules have to be one of the dumbest things I've ever heard on the planet. In MMA, when someone gets knocked down or put to the ground pretty bad, the fight ends and the other guy wins. But in boxing, when somebody gets knocked down, they have 10 seconds to get back up and keep fighting. And if you're a fighter, you're trained to get up every single time to keep fighting, meaning you're becoming a CTE farm. So if you want to get into striking, I would not recommend boxing. However, there is a better alternative. Muay Thai is a martial art that is actually better than boxing. See, compared to boxing, which only has punching, Muay Thai is basically boxing, plus kicking, plus elbows, plus knees, plus styling. It's almost a perfect style of striking. Also, being a Muay Thai fighter has to be one of the best aura gains ever, because every time you step into the ring, you're bouncing your head against punches while being stiff the entire time. I should have worded that way better. Being a Muay Thai fighter allows you to basically counter every style of fighting. If you fight a boxer, you just kick them. If you fight a wrestler, you just knee them. If you're fighting a Taekwondo fighter, just walk near them and your stench will probably kill them. Muay Thai is the best striking style I would highly recommend if you want to get into fighting. However, there is a problem I do have with Muay Thai, and is that every Muay Thai fighter I know are geekers. What I mean is that they drink half a gallon worth of alcohol before practice and pop 20 zins every 2 seconds for that extra 2% dopamine, which does absolutely nothing. I swear, my friend who is a state placer at wrestling does Muay Thai too, and tells me about how majority of the people who fight there are all geekers. And this includes the coaches too. I've even seen my friend crash out when he didn't have a fresh zin in to go to practice. Bro, you don't need a zin every 2 seconds. Now, this interpretation for what Muay Thai is very specific to my area and Thailand. So to become a Muay Thai fighter, you don't have to become a geeker. Just know you will be heavily influenced into becoming one. But overall, I'll give it a solid 8.5 out of 10. And I'll also give boxing a rating of 6 out of 10.
The way to defend yourself in jiu-jitsu would be to get into guard and see how gay you look.
Now, jiu-jitsu is an interesting case because in my last videos, I've referred to jiu-jitsu as one thing. Yeah, and I don't take it back. Now, I'm not saying that jiu-jitsu is a bad sport. I'm just saying that they get themselves in certain positions that are a little interesting. I just want to make this very clear too. I am not trying to attack any certain group of people. I'm just saying that jiu-jitsu is a little bit freaky. That's all. Like, jiu-jitsu is the only sport where you could spread your legs and approach your opponent saying, "Come in my guard," and it would be totally normal. I mean, I get how jiu-jitsu is a very thought-through style where you need to be in these kind of positions in order to break someone's arms or choke them out. But like, why they gotta be so diddy though? Like, I mean, damn! Like, you could be that Mikey Musumeci guy who eats pizza and dominating fucking everyone, and I would still think you're kind of gay. But on a real note, I heavily respect people who do jiu-jitsu because you're constantly putting yourself in these positions where you could break a body part or, I don't know, fucking lose consciousness. And like, repeatedly going through these drills have to be one of the craziest things that you could do on a day-to-day basis. And then these guys go ahead and just start smiling and making jokes whenever someone breaks a fucking arm. Now, I wouldn't say that jiu-jitsu is the hardest martial art to get good at, but I would definitely say that the people who do it are sweaty as fuck. It's either you're a regular ass dude who does free lessons in order to show your friends that you're healthy, or you're Charles Oliveira doing the weirdest moves in order to put people in the devil anus butthole breaking armbar. Now, if I were to personally rate jiu-jitsu, I would give it a solid Diddy out of 10. Now, what I'm about to say is going to be a little offensive towards the people who actually take this sport seriously, but in my opinion, Taekwondo is shit! I did Taekwondo for a little bit, and for the small time that I did it, I swear every motherfucker in that gym did not give a single fuck about fighting. All they do is sit there, bitch about having to kick bags, and then cry when they get kicked by a 1 mile per hour roundhouse kick in the leg. Like, I swear, I actually hate having to spar with these kids who do this, because all they do is run away and try to beat out the clock. When I used to go to Taekwondo, I remember we had this one kid, I'm not gonna name drop, so I'm gonna call them Vecna, and they were sparring with this other kid in the class named Burger. And keep in mind, they were about like 15, 16 years old, so they were like a bit older than me, but had a higher belt than me. But the thing is, as soon as Vecna and Burger started sparring, Burger hit Vecna with a jab to the arm. This jab wasn't like Francis Ngannou trying to throw a punch, this was more like a toddler just trying to tap you. But as soon as they got hit, Vecna immediately stopped and said, "Stop it! I'm gonna sue you for punching me." Bro, you're coming to a gym and sparring with someone. You should expect to get hit a couple times. This is literally the equivalent of going to school and suing them because you got late on an assignment that you turned in 10 days late. It's stupid. But the thing is, as soon as Vecna did this, Burger, who was also a whole year younger, immediately started pleading her case. "Guys, I swear I didn't mean it. I was just defending myself." Bro, I can't lie, this has to be like top 3, not 2 arguments I've ever fucking heard. And from there, I had to quit. I couldn't do this shit anymore. I honestly had more fun wrestling the kid that cross faces every single time he's on top. But I'm getting too ahead of myself. Overall, I would rate Taekwondo a solid 4 out of 10. Would not recommend. Also, fuck this shitty card.